physiology, intellect, psychology, emotion, spirituality. Put those 5 things into everything you do, your pipes. Okay, you're going to see way more gains than the guy who does it.
What's up, guys? This is Rob Badsteen, owner and founder of Athletic Strength Club in Monroe, New York in Orange County. This is our first episode of the ASC podcast, where we're going to chat about all things strength, mobility, nutrition, optimizing performance, and longevity as well. With me are Coach Kyle and Coach Anthony to chat about these topics. All right, so backstory, Athletic Strength Club is my second gym. I was a cross-country athlete in high school. My mom got me into training by paying me $50 a month to sign up for the cross-country team because the coach sent me a letter. I guess I had 1 good mile at that point, but I came in third from last in my first race. And after a few years of training, ended up making varsity and becoming one of the fastest kids in the nation at the time. An acquaintance asked me to join him to start a gym, and ended up founding a place called Results Driven Fitness, or helping found that gym with him. Then years later, started my own gym called Athletic Strength Club, where we do similar things, trying to optimize training for youth athletes and adults. So I've always had a passion for training due to somehow throughout my cross-country years and running years, just found I had a love for all things training. Nutrition started to become important in my life as well, because I found out when you start optimizing nutrition, your training got better, you got faster, you got stronger. I ended up getting into rock climbing for a little bit, found a climbing gym and became really passionate about that for a couple of years. And then running into my own gym, I found you could identify mobility and stability issues in people with certain assessments, and really got into movement assessment and identifying how joints move and things like that, and learning exercises to help improve mobility, and learning how to work with physical therapists to help people live better lives and move better and optimize performance. Then fast forward, owning my own gym, I found I lived in an area that was kind of a desert for that type of thing. So I wanted to open up my own facility and try to help people move better, help youth athletes find a better way, and help adults who really are struggling at the gym to train to find a way back into training. So we have a lot of people at the gym who, the regular big box gyms, they didn't do it for them. They either do the same thing all the time, or they keep getting hurt and they need somebody to guide them. And this is why ASC exists, to help youth athletes and adults find a better way, train better, optimize their training, get to where they want to be faster and safer and in a better way. So Coach Kyle, Coach Anthony ended up at my door as well. They came to help out, and couldn't be more appreciative of having these two guys with me. Both very passionate about the same project. Thought maybe you guys could do an intro. Maybe Coach Kyle, you popped in the door first, reached out to me on email? Yeah. Instagram? I think.
Yep, email.
I haven't heard this story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my name's Kyle Killenberger. I played football, basketball in high school, and I started lifting when I was very young, like 11. I really started training, and probably around 14 is when I got into the gym with the weight room and all that stuff. And that is when I started really picking up the barbell lifts and all that with football. And at that point, I really enjoyed it, and I stopped playing basketball junior year, and I really focused on the lifting. I loved the lifting, and then with football, and once I was done with high school, lifting was my life. I loved it. And I struggled a lot because I had my mentality was very intense when it came to training. I loved getting into the gym and just crushing myself, which is good when it's a good mentality to have, but it's not good when you become more advanced. When you become more advanced and the weights get heavier, you get stronger. A lot of problems and injuries can come along, and that's those are the things I ran into. So a lot of my training has been self-taught. I've had to fix a lot of my own problems, and fix the way I train as I've gotten more advanced and through. And that's when I came to ASC and started training there and helping people avoid all the mistakes that I made, and get to their goals faster. But that's when I came to ASC and I met Rob. That's where I started realizing how important mobility training was and all that. I would walk into the gym when I was younger. I would do a quick warm up, and then I'd get under the bar and start lifting heavy weight. And it works when you're young and you got the fresh joints and stuff like that. But after a while, the mobility and proper warm-ups and all that stuff became extremely important to me. And I've learned a lot moving into my own training and then helping other people maintain the mobility, become better with their mobility, and then progress with their strength lifts. So that's the other thing. I really started training lifting was because I just wanted to get faster for football. That was my big thing. And I'm like, what's the best way to get faster? And I'm like, sprint and do all that, but it's to be stronger, especially when I was younger. I just wanted to get stronger. Being stronger means I have more capacity to be faster. And that's where I really started training. And then all of a sudden, I loved lifting so much that I just started really doing that way more, and it worked. I got a lot faster for football, and that whole thing came together, and that's what got me to where I am right now, and helping other people get to where they want to be doing the same thing. So
good stuff. That's it. That's training mileage right there. The more mileage you have on, the more you're like, wow, I need to do mobility.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Factor. Yep. And Coach Anthony, maybe you could fill us in on your story, you reaching out.
All right. Yeah. So I, first and foremost, I'm a learner. I'm the owner of a constantly evolving philosophy, and the core tenets are always the same. It's always, what is a competitive edge that I could provide to my athletes and to the people that train with me. So I just search. I'm in a constant search for community, people that I can learn from, resources that I can use to, give ourselves a competitive edge, because I am a competitor. I want to win. I want my athletes to feel the best. I want them to know they're the best. And, that all started when I was, like Kyle said, when we were younger. When I was in high school, I was an athlete who was not explosive, who, I wanted it just as bad as anybody else, but I wasn't sure how to go about it, how to go about the training, how to go about getting strong, how to go about getting fast, because I didn't have those things naturally. Now, what that was a product of, that could be argued, that could be debated for centuries. But the point is, I didn't have it. So, and you know what they say, those who cannot do, coach. I find that to be very accurate. So, I started educating myself, wound up going to Believe Elite Athletic Training in Monroe, which is right next door to where Athletic Strength Club is now. Worked with a guy named JR who, yes, he, taught us how to lift properly. I never walked out of there injured. He pushed us mentally, physically, and it really just gave me a passion and a love for, the process of training and getting better. My body, I would say, wasn't really ready ready to take that big jump. I was a bit of a late bloomer. So once I got to college, I started playing rugby. And the way it works in upstate New York when you play collegiate rugby is you got to get it on your own. So I dive in head first, like I do with everything else. I try to figure out what is the best way for me to get fast. Well, I got to sprint. What is the best way for me to get strong? Well, you got to lift heavy. What's the best way to get big? Well, you got to dial in on your nutrition, and just piece by piece, I have put this philosophy together. It's never going to be perfect, and I'm well aware of that, but it's always growing, and I'm always looking to learn more. So that's where I'm at right now.
That's it. Forever dialing things in.
Yeah.
That's always what we're looking to do. That's what we're all looking to do. That's the fun thing about being at a gym and training is always evolving, like big picture wise. All the people we listen to are always evolving. And like, I feel like you guys have helped me evolve my thinking and my training. Hopefully I've done the same for you in certain ways. That's why it's my favorite thing to do though. Cause it's like interesting mix of like science and art and like what's the person's goal is the most important thing, because how you train is based on what you're trying to accomplish. Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Most people who are coming our doors are typically youth athletes, right? Anywhere from 12 to 17. Hopefully before 17. It's rough when you're a senior and you give us like 2 months to get you ready for college, guys. Just putting it out there. It happens a lot. Or when you show up the summer before you go into college with a packet that says like, I need to learn how to do all these lifts. Like, you're late. You should have been in the game 3-4 years ago. But this happens. But yeah, we have those youth athletes coming in. A big thing we see, I want to talk about weaknesses in athletes that we see. Almost every athlete I come in, I run through a little movement assessment. We look at, mobility, hip mobility, shoulder mobility, ankle mobility. We look at core strength in the form of a more challenging push-up just to see how able you are to keep your core stiff as you push up from that bottom position. It's not about whether you can get up. It's about your core stiffness, midsection stiffness. And then we look at your ability to squat and your ability to balance. Almost every kid that comes in has a hip mobility issue. I'm talking like 80, 85%. You guys have stiff glutes or tight glutes, tight quads. Sometimes it's the hamstrings. More often than not, it's the quads and the glutes that are kicking in. But so it's a big weakness we often see. Or I riff through for everything. Anything you guys think of weaknesses you see in general in like youth athletes while we're on the youth athlete page?
Yeah, I mean, ankles cannot bend at all. Yeah, I think it's, it's quite interesting to think about is that as humans, we all have this potential that's in us from like, and that's obviously our job to help unlock that potential. But you watch how a baby and a toddler will move. It's like their ankles, they bend like nothing. So somewhere along the way, due to the habits that these kids have, we talk about ankle, hip, shoulder, whatever, spinal mobility, like that all goes out the window. And it's our job to help them correct that, because it's really like you lost this beautiful gift of a working human body that you have somewhere along the way. And we, through doing the right stuff, we could fix that.
Agree.
Certainly. I think unfortunately a lot of that comes from the school system and just like being so sedentary. You're sitting all day, not moving a lot. Phones too, video games, all that stuff. It's fun leisure stuff, but when you really look at it and how your body is, you're sitting there for hours not moving at all.
It's pretty much this chair right here. Chairs.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Chairs are a big part of the problem.
So just being seated so much, especially from such a young age, you basically grow into that stiffness as you get older. And that's the unfortunate part, but that's why it's so important to just start training and getting yourself moving and staying on top of the mobility and the ability to just move better. And
keep those joints the way they were meant to be.
That's right.
Yeah. That's the chairs are a big part. It's like you don't want to blame school because everybody learns a lot at school. But imagine you sit for 45 minutes at a time. You walk to the next class and you sit for another 45 minutes at a time. And you walk to the next class, and like some kids take up sports and maybe that helps them maintain it, but it doesn't always help you maintain it. I mean, we got kids who start playing sports when they're 6, 7 years old. Like, why do they have an ankle mobility issue and a hip mobility issue when they're 12 years old? Like, it shouldn't be that way. So obviously sports aren't enough. This is why, the sooner you start training, the better. Although I'd say 12 years old is probably best because younger kids aren't focused enough unless we could get something else going. But
something that, ever since I started working with you and working at ASC that I've, really increased my opinion of, and I've realized that this is the most important thing is that you should never stop playing.
Yes.
Like I was just talking about this earlier today. Like, I couldn't do monkey bars when I was a kid. I couldn't do monkey bars until a few months ago. Maybe it's because I had a self-limiting belief, but there are things that I had never tried. Like, and I played sports my entire life, but I had never tried to do a cartwheel. I had never tried to do monkey bars.
Bella got you.
And then, so it's like,
shout out to Bella.
We don't, if we don't do these things, as opposed to if we do, you stay moving, introduce different stimuli to your body over the course of your life, and randomness, variety.
Yes.
This play is so important, and kids don't do that anymore. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're burnt out. We got parents forcing kids, whether they're, trying to be a competitive travel soccer player. You know how these travel teams get, and that's who our competition is the travel teams.
It is sometimes.
Absolutely. But, the kid just they did a 3-day tournament. They went wherever. They come back, they're exhausted, and they got 3 practices this week. Yep. Do they want to go outside and play on the monkey bars? No, they want to sit inside and play video games.
Exactly right. They're too tired
sleep,
to
play video games, and eat junk food. Like, they had to be locked in for 3 out of 4 seasons out of the year to go, whether they're doing travel baseball, travel soccer. Hell, I was down at the field at Monroe Woodbury a few weeks ago, and I saw there was youth soccer players. I'm talking 7, 8 years old, and they're being put through like an aerobic conditioning, a beep test. They're
beep
being
test?
put through a beep test at 7, 8 years old. I'm like, these kids do not need a beep test. Tell them to just go kick the soccer ball
play.
around.
Right.
Yeah.
Go play. Yeah,
That's
you don't
too
have
serious.
to be paying somebody to put your 7-year-old through a beep test.
Yeah.
Like that's nuts.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Have them play, and then you'll notice that they're gonna move better than everybody else.
Mhm.
They're gonna be more athletic, all right, and they're gonna be happier. Happiness is really, when they're 7, 8 years old, what you should be focused
So
on. Are they
important.
having fun?
Joy.
Because when they become 12 years old and they're like, dude, I hate soccer.
That's
I
exactly
hate
what I was
soccer
gonna
because
say.
you force them to play.
These kids get burnt out
They're
way too
not going to
early.
be good when they're 16.
Yeah.
So, maybe they'll be.
They might
but-
be done when they're 16.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. I've seen these kids so promising. They're so pumped at 12, 13 and they're fired up. And then they're 15, 16 and they're like, yeah, I don't really care anymore.
Yeah,
Like, they're
it
just-
happens
it's like
way
so
too
sad.
frequently.
So sad. Yep.
Yeah.
Especially when they had that good, and maybe they're injured too because that
Typically.
overuse.
Or
way
they're
too
not
much
as good
play.
as they used to be
Yep.
because these kids that have
They
been.
peak too early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's it. So many kids, they get injured and then that changes everything because then now you got the injury and now when you try to come back, you can't do what you used to be able to do and you don't know how to get yourself back to where you want to be or where you were. And then you're just like, forget it. I'm done with this. And then next thing you know, you have a job, you're sitting behind a desk and you don't move or play anymore. And then you become our older clients who are 40 and 50 years old who are trying to get back into it, but they don't move well. They don't know what to do at the gym because they don't move well. And
Yeah, I'll
it's
say
a vicious circle.
Yeah, when I was beginning my cartwheel journey, I brought it to work, and I said, Kyle, can you do a cartwheel? He's bigger than me. He's got 20 pounds on me. I mean, I look maybe like I'm more mobile than him, but I doubt that because he whipped out a perfect one, and I was like, yeah, dude, we should
I'm
never.
so upset I missed this.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
we should never lose that ability.
Yeah.
If you lose that ability, like that's a problem. Like
Yeah.
you should, we have 16-year-old kids who step in the gym. They're hesitant and afraid to do a forward somersault.
Yep. I remember that when you had those kids doing it.
That's not cool. We
Yeah.
should not lose that. We're all born with the ability to crawl on the floor, or
Yep.
maybe that's a learn.
Maybe not burn,
when you're 9
born.
months old, you start
Yeah.
crawling. But
Comes a little
that
later, but
ability
yeah.
is in you naturally. That's something that's going to develop for everybody. We're all going to crawl. We're all going to walk.
We're all
we
gonna
should all
roll.
be able to run, climb, and roll and do stuff like that. Like, why would you ever
Agreed.
let yourself lose that ability?
Which brings me back to the thoughts of we need a play class one day. Play class
Yeah.
sounds good.
That's
But I love your concept of play. That's actually one of the things in my first gym I remember talking about, like nobody plays. Like we need to play. Like stop acting like only kids can play. Like, all right, you don't need to be like super goofy. But you could be. Like maybe that's missing too. Like if you don't play, you're not exploring the full range of motion of your joints. That's what
Yeah.
happens when you play. You roll around, you crawl around, you walk on the ground, you squat, you do duck walks, you jump, you roll over things, you climb over things. Like that's all these little positions get explored
Mhm.
that you're missing if you're not playing.
even if
Not
you
to
don't
mention
like
you smile.
Yeah.
What?
Oh,
Not to
yeah.
mention you don't like what?
No, even if you don't like basketball, if somebody tosses
Yeah.
me the basketball, shoot the basketball.
Shoot the basketball.
Shoot the base.
Right.
What's the worst that
If
can
you
happen?
miss, who cares?
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
You know?
It's not the end of the day. That's it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like even martial arts is great too
Yeah.
because you're rolling around, you're moving around, you're doing
All different positions.
different things that you will not do in your everyday life.
Yes.
And that's another avenue.
Yep.
Of just things you can do.
That's
Keep
good.
yourself.
Let's bring how do you guys like to play? Name something you do that's like
Oh,
weird that you might
shooting
play.
hoops.
Shooting
Shooting hoops
hoops
is
is good.
always one I love
Basketball.
doing. Yep.
That's
yeah.
it.
I'm not even a fan. I never was good at basketball, so I never wanted to play it.
Yeah.
I bought a basketball a couple months ago from Dick's, and I go out twice a week. I just shoot around.
Yeah.
See,
That's
I
great.
give myself a certain amount of makes that I got to make before I leave, and maybe I'm there for 10 minutes, maybe I'm there for 30.
Yeah.
But it gets me moving, gets me doing something different.
Yeah. Love that.
I participate. I play rugby, so I get out there a couple times a week and just get moving. Obviously that's great for your brain to actually have opposition and be reactive, because you'll see, people that do not use that part of their brain that is using their eyes to communicate, all the way down the spinal cord and coordinate movements. They lose it.
They lose
you use it or lose it.
That applies to everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
So got to be well rounded.
Speaking of which, you guys got to go to the Monroe Park. They have this thing. It's like a spinning monkey bar thing It's so awesome. I was
At the
there
new-
right
at the
in
new
other day,
one.
the new Monroe Park.
Yeah.
So like you jump on this thing and you could grab it and it rotates. And if you put your body momentum, you could get this thing spinning. Some dad just came over with me, jumped on the opposite side, and we had this thing cooking. And you have to hold on. Your legs are flying out the side. I was like, yo, this is so fun. I have
And the
to
people watching you are wondering, who is this for?
I think
Is
they're
this for the kids or
this
for the
is like
dads?
the only other fit dad in the
Yeah.
place. And I was like, yo, I'm so glad this guy just jumped on
Yeah.
with me. Like we're just like I was going for a while. He bailed out and I kept going for like 10 minutes.
And then if you see that guy
and Braden's
again,
looking at me.
you
Yeah.
guys are going to make eye contact at the park. You guys are just going to both
I'm
beeline
at a
for
point,
the
I'm
thing.
like, bro,
Yeah, let's get
we're
on
heading
this
right
thing.
to this thing right
Extreme
here.
grip strength
Yeah,
challenge
extreme,
right there.
that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so fun. But like, I was just like, this is so cool. Like, one, I don't like that the park says you need to be a certain age to go there. First of all right, judge me if
Yeah.
you need to, but like this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Because like, all right, adults need to play too, in a sense. Like, all right, but we can't have creepers there, so I understand that.
Yeah.
That's right.
But like,
Maybe
you know,
security.
You go to a
Maybe-
park, like you said, you hadn't done monkey bars in so long. Like I have monkey bars in the
Ever.
gym because like one, I like to play on monkey bars. Two, grip strength, shoulder mobility, shoulder stability, like all these things are evolved in that play.
Mhm.
What do they call it? Brachiation is like the fancy term for monkey barring,
Yeah.
like movement
Oh, I
through
like
hanging.
that. That's what I'm going to call it.
Brachiation, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to brachiate today.
Let's
Um,
brachiate.
Let's
Yeah.
brachiate. So like monkey bar. I also got the balance beam in the gym for that reason. Like, all right,
Yeah.
this is a form of play. We're balancing. We're walking across the
Mhm.
balance beam. I've seen crawling on balance beams. Like, how do we play and how do we explore movement? I also think for athletes, like we're trying to give them more options. So like the more mobility you have, the more coordination you have, these give you more options in a game. When you have more options, when you have options that somebody else doesn't have, you're going to outplay that person. You could either spin better than them, you can juke better than them, and you're going to beat out that person, right? If you're faster than them, you've got more options. I've got this many speeds, you only have this many speeds.
Mhm.
See you later. So like,
It's a great point.
Yep. These are all, how can we give you as many options as possible? So when you get into the game, you've got way more options than your competition and you're going to win the game.
So we are inviting the brain and we are inviting our body to do something different than what might be traditional. And you look at some of the best, no matter what, best athletes, they're able to tap into something a little different, like you're talking about. But it doesn't always look textbook.
Mhm.
It doesn't always look like,
Usually
you
doesn't.
move in a straight line. Yeah. Sometimes like you watch somebody who has a crazy jump cut or a crazy behind the back dribble.
Mhm.
Like you look at that and you're like, wow,
How did you do that?
that looks just like art almost, So it's giving them, like you said, more options, and inviting them to do something different and explore something different. I mean, that's how you grow as an
That's
athlete.
the game.
That's
Game. That's it. Why do you think they call them freaks? Because they're not
Yeah.
textbook.
yeah.
Freak
Not all
athletes
X's
are
and
not.
O's.
That's it.
The X's and O's do not account for freaks. They don't account for a
Nope.
Kyrie Irving who could do whatever he wants with the
Yeah.
basketball at
That's
this
it.
far from the floor.
Mhm.
They don't account for you find a Derrick Henry whose arms are 40 inches long and
It's
can
ridiculous.
reach you from across the field.
40 inch wingspan, you mean, right? I'm like, each arm can't be
Oh,
40 inches.
they
Is
might
that-
be. I don't know. He's
Oh,
about
no, it would be. It's
6'4".
40 inch arms. Yeah,
Yeah.
80 inch wingspan.
I know
Yeah.
they're longer
That's
than the
ridiculous.
average. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
huge.
he could reach somebody from wherever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's insane. Incredible.
Going back to the weakness
Yeah.
part too, a lot of people, youth athletes, I see core strength.
Yeah.
That's another very big one.
Definitely.
Again, I think that comes a lot from sitting so much too,
Mhm.
because you always have this chair holding you up the whole time, and
Yeah.
the biggest thing is the younger ones, they come in and do a plank. None of them can do a proper plank for 30 seconds.
Yep.
It's like the toughest thing for them.
So true.
And at home, just start doing some planks,
Yeah.
like do something.
Hold it for a
Yeah,
little bit.
that's right.
Or the bird dog motion, opposite on a
Mhm.
leg, a little bit easier than a plank,
Yeah,
but it starts
something. There's so many things you can do at home too.
Yeah.
You don't need a gym. You don't need any equipment. All you need is yourself and the floor.
Yep.
And just
a
do
lot you
something.
can do with that
Right. Absolutely.
and be creative. Yeah. So that brings us to the other side of the coin with the adults. Similar thing. I mean, you probably see it. I don't know if we see it more frequently, if it's about the same. Core strength in the adult athletes or adults. I like to call you guys adult athletes. I think everybody's an athlete. You just need to get moving again and go do some things, and that makes you an athlete, right?
Mhm.
Athlete is, I don't know what the athlete definition is in the dictionary, but I consider it somebody who does some sort of physical activity with frequency, like a few times a week. If you're trained at the gym, you're an athlete, all right? If you go out and do any sort of sport, you're an athlete. You're just an older athlete,
Mhm.
all right? Maybe things are tougher for you, but they could always be better, right? But yeah, in the adults, we see very similar things. You know, you got poor ankle mobility, you got poor hip mobility. Although I'd say you see poor shoulder mobility a lot more frequently in adults, particularly in adult men who, a lot of times maybe they did go to the gym for a long time and they benched, but they didn't overhead press very much. And there goes that overhead shoulder mobility. They don't hang, you know, you start to lose that ability to put your arm overhead, which is a sad thing. We should all be able to reach overhead. We should all be able to hang and play on the monkey bars. Good times.
So that should be a standard.
It should be. It is for me. I think it's a standard. You should be able to hang.
It has become a
straight
standard
down.
for me as well since you introduced me to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who's the guy? It's interesting. What's the book I just read called Check Engine Light? And that guy talked to that guy, Robert something. I keep forgetting his last name, but he talked about several different movement systems and how they have their standards. So there's FMS that we do at the gym, which you look at ankle, hip, and shoulder mobility to a certain standard, ability to squat and balance. And then there's FRC, which is more joint by joint, and they have like specific standards for each joint and how those joints should move. There's this guy, Ido Portal, I believe he's MoveNet, and his system, one of his big things are, can you squat and can you hold the bottom position of a squat? So isometric squats, can you hang? And you should be able to hang. You should be able to hang with one arm, but he kind of covers top and bottom with the squat position because we also see a lot of people who can't squat below parallel. Or if they can, they're like folded in half, like, you know, their chest is touching their knees and they can't keep their body upright, which is a problem. So yeah, I think that becomes a standard as well. I think all these things are like, I don't think any one is more important than the other. I think it's like, well, why shouldn't we have all of those buckets?
Yeah.
Like you should be able to hang, but you should also have the FMS standards. And then you should also have the FRC joint by joint standards. I think we need to look at all these things. We need to, nothing should be mutually exclusive. But again, it goes back to what's the goal. So with our older clients, most of the time the goals are what? Longevity. They want to live as long as they can, and they want to be young as long as they can. They want their joints moving as well as possible for as long as possible. I'm older too. These are the things I have. I'm like 40. I'm like, I would like to be 80 years old and still able to cruise up a flight of stairs pretty well. When I'm 60, my son's going to be 20, 21. I definitely want to be able to run reasonably fast with him. Hopefully still sprint. Hopefully I could still rep some monkey bars and do some crawling stuff too.
Well, if you never stop, you don't have to worry about it.
I never plan to stop.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
Like I prioritize that stuff for that reason. Plus, like, I mean, you know, I look at people my age and I'm like, you're not old yet. Like you're only old because you're acting like you're old. Like you can find a way to not be old. Yes, behavior. And you think you're old. Some people think they're old at 30. It's like, relax. Right? I get it. You know, 18, a 30-year-old was 100, but like, you're not that old and you know it deep down. But yeah, what else do we see in our older folks? Any thoughts on?
I think, you know, people by nature, they love to be able to see progress and they love to, you know, everybody likes to look at numbers. So we have a lot of adults that get fired up about getting stronger. You know, it's, you know, just putting more weight on the bar, and you know, when they're executing and you know they start feeling good and they see that number going up, you know, that's really motivating. I love to see that when we have adult clients that come in and they really want to, whether it's, you know, they set a goal to increase their trap bar deadlift by 20 pounds or you know, they just, you know, they're fired up with good attention to detail. I think attention to detail is really something important to preach. And we see people with high attention to detail make a lot of progress rather quickly. Not in every case, you know, every case is different. But, you know, we do have a good amount of people that are focused and who want to get strong and who have their own goals. So we take it on an individual by individual basis. But, you know, there's something for everybody. And there's something I think that everybody in this room can offer them to help them reach their goals.
Great.
I think the biggest thing in all of that's mindset. It's every single one. When older people come into the gym and their mindset is in the gutter, but when they get in and they start seeing, oh wow, I can actually get stronger. I can become more mobile. I can feel younger. Their mindset changes. And now they get fired up to come in here and like, coach, I want to lift more. I want to, when's the PR day? You know, like when's all this stuff? And the mindset changes, and all of a sudden you see that spark in these people. They want to come to the gym, and that's the biggest thing with exercising. Yeah, just get into the gym. Doesn't matter how old you are or where you're at in life. Just start. You know, get in there and get moving, and everything else follows in after. You know, it's the mindset's the biggest thing.
That is 100%. Huge. That gets me fired up too. When they get fired up, and I saw them, or they get a PR and they're all fired up. man, when do I get to lift again? I can't wait to get in the gym. I want to do something.
You know, one of my favorite things at Athletic Strength Club that I get to see, you know, fairly frequently now is when we have, and you know, sometimes we get adult clients that are a little bit underconfident in themselves, and I love when they surprise themselves.
You see that switch?
Yes, I love, because some of them, you know, we have some clients that don't like to know what weight is on the bar. They just like to do it. They just like to do it. They don't like to get in their head about it. And then I walk over to them after. I'm like, you know, that was 240, right? And they perk up. They look at me and they're like, what? And I never done that before. I'm like, yeah, you did that. And then you know, and just seeing that confidence go up a little bit, I think is a very rewarding part of, you know, because that's self-efficacy.
Yes.
Self-efficacy is a huge part of why I'm sure all of us train and why all of us got into training. It's, you know, you gain respect for yourself. You gain, you know, you see that you could commit to something and progress towards your goals. So that's always something that I thought was pretty special, you know, just about ASC, is when you see people surprise themselves. You know, they accomplish something that they didn't think that they were previously able to accomplish. I think that's something that's really cool with the adult clients.
Yep, that's the magic. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Fires you up for the next day.
Yeah. Got a few of them.
We got a few of those overachievers.
G's
definitely one of our overachievers.
Yeah.
That guy wants to do everything all the time, all at once. You know you do, G.
Yeah.
He's great though. Yeah. What G ran, and G just did his third Spartan race of the year, 13.1 miles at Killington, 6,300 feet of elevation gain.
So cool. Yeah.
It's insane. And then I'm like, are you sore? 2 days later, he's like, no, not really. I'm just tired. I'm like, there's no way you're not sore, G. That is so much elevation gain.
Yeah, we're talking about a guy that we had summer games. The hardest event, most people would probably agree, in the summer games was a body weight trap bar carry.
Yes.
It was something that I had coached before, and I had never seen anybody really get more than 2.5 minutes. And he just decided that he wasn't going to put the bar down and he was going to go for over 5 minutes. And we love to see that, because somebody someday is going to come along, whether it's next year, whether it's in next week, you know, somebody's going to come along and you're going to be, hey, this guy did
5 minutes
for over 5 minutes. Yeah. And somebody's going to come around and they're going to accept that challenge. And and even if they fail, they're going to go for it again, because that's just the personality that they are.
Yep.
And we love, you know, they make everybody's life better. Those people, people, you know, they push people, they encourage people just to achieve. So yeah, those overachievers are people
great.
that we love to have in the gym.
Pushing the bar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, I'd say it's easier.
It's like, to some extent. Sometimes they're the people you got to pull back, right?
Yeah. It's just, those are, you make up a program that you want for them and that what their goals are. And it's like, they do everything. They get in there. They're like, coach, I want more weight. I want more. And then that's the part you got to keep them on track with, you know, where you want them to get to by the end of the program. But it's like those people that come in fired up, ready to go. The work does it for themselves right there. It's awesome.
It's great. It's a beautiful thing. You just got to write it up. You know, they're doing exactly what what you lay out. Or sometimes they're doing more though. And you're like, there's a reason I didn't give you more. I don't want you to do more.
Especially in the early comings of a program, you know, it's like it's week one, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
We got to build some momentum, get ourselves going, and don't worry, we'll get there.
We need to have somewhere to go. You can't just be hitting it full steam and burn
Right.
yourself out in week one.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a tough thing. Overachievers are fun. But they're also great when we get something like the summer games like we had. I mean, that's just, that's so fun because it's like, all right, now we have an event. This is it. We need you to go all out. Yeah. Put in everything
it all out
you
there.
got in every single event. And let's see what happens. We're going to see who takes away the victory. Yeah, still debating if we do a winter games this year, but I don't know.
Ooh,
figure that out.
Nice.
Once a year might be enough, but transformation. Tough one. I mean, I feel like those fall on me because right now, 2 transformations come to mind. One, you have Michelle, who's down, I believe, 30 pounds at her last weigh-in, which was just Monday. I think Monday she weighed in, or Tuesday. But yeah, she dropped 30 pounds and she's down like 8 or 10% body fat since she started here, started at ASC.
Nice.
When did she start? It's like her 6th or 7th program. I don't know. I don't think it's been a year, but I think we're approaching a year for her. So her goal was to lose weight. And yeah, she's been doing it. She's been very consistent at the gym 2 days a week. And then you got G, who's also a great transformation story. His goal also, he's been a a martial artist his whole life, Muay Thai, kickboxing, and he came to me and he was like, I'm tired of being a fighter, but not looking like a fighter. Like people don't think I'm fit enough. And I was like, all right, well, let's get training and let's talk about your nutrition. Cause I mean, that's the bottom line. What's your nutrition look like? Guy started tracking right away. As we mentioned, he's an overachiever. He goes all in. I mean, it took a little bit to dial him into really getting the tracking going and putting everything in there. But, then he starts showing me his food every day. He goes harder than me. Like he puts in his food for the day and then he eats it. I put in as I eat and then plan out what I need to do when I'm planning out my food. This guy puts in everything he's going to eat before he even eats it. And then he just goes through. Yeah. Like wakes up in the morning, like I'm going to eat this today, this, gets all his macros laid out. And then, so he's down. I mean, he started off at 22% body fat and he got himself down to 8.3% after a 13-mile Spartan race. So obviously he was a little leaner than usual due to burning 2,600 or something calories in 7 hours of nonstop movement. But those were some phenomenal transformations. I mean, we should also talk athletes Danny?
Danny's a great one.
Danny's been killing it. This summer alone, I think he's up 10, 12 pounds. Maybe 15?
He's up a good bit
amount.
For sure. And
packing on the muscle.
Absolutely. Yeah. In 6 weeks we're on it. We just started a new program with that whole crew. So we'll be hitting some new 1 rep maxes there. But
very exciting.
I mean, we've just been in the reps right now, doing tons of reps, and he's taking his old maxes for reps right now, Nice. So
that's
it's
amazing.
just
It's always great to see.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was the other one? Well, you had Justin too. Or no, Jamie. Sorry. Jamie was a transformation. Justin. Jamie, I think he also gained 10 pounds in the summer. He's in college now, Sullivan County, right?
Yep.
Playing basketball for Sullivan County Community College. Great kid. Came in for the summer, put in the work, got here 2 days a week, and got his nutrition dialed in to pack on some pounds because college basketball team wanted him to be a little bit bigger to compete at that level, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's always going to be, what I always try to preach is that you're going to be accountable for your own success. I think it's, like Kyle was saying before, it's more how you do it than what you do. We got the what you do handled.
Yep.
But if I believe that the main driver of gains is always going to be intent. All right. If your intent is to move something fast and explosive rather than going just through the motions, all right, you're more likely to get stronger. All right. If your intent when you go home is to put the right stuff in your body rather than just going through the motions and having this and that because somebody told you to, right? I think that will amount to better gains over time.
Yes.
And you'll see these people that get it in the gym also typically will get it at home, because they understand that it is probably 75% how you do things as opposed to what you do. That's the smaller percent. You could conceivably run a bad program. We don't coach bad programs. None of us coach bad programs, but you could conceivably run a suboptimal program. And a lot of people out there do, but because they want it so bad and because they put so much into it, they make gains, we try to take the guesswork out of everything and make sure that we have our people doing the right stuff because we don't want to run a suboptimal program, but there's a lot of people out there that make gains on that. Because they have that figured out. They have we call it pipes. Jay Schroeder called it pipes: physiology, intellect, psychology, emotion, and spirituality. They put all of that into everything they do, and they make more gains.
I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, those are your overachievers. That's
do
what
that
they
one
have.
more time.
Physiology, intellect, psychology, emotion, spirituality. Put those 5 things into everything you do. Your pipes. Okay, you're gonna see way more gains than the guy who does it.
That's it.
Promise.
Great.
All right. Yeah. And being able to identify the talent, I call it the talent because I come from the football world, and that's kind of just what we refer. It's talent identification. That's how I would find, when I was coaching at my previous job at a high school, that you have to figure out who are the kids that are going to get your message. It's not going to be everybody, but if you can change one life. And I always called Ian Harder. He's like my little brother. He was my love letter to the game of football. He got it, and over time, he told me he wanted to play college football. I said, all right, then I'm going to hold you to that standard. and nothing less.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you're expected to put everything into it because you told me that. I didn't tell you that. I didn't tell you want to play college football. All right. I believe in you. You're a skinny kid. All right. We're going to put 45 pounds on you. We did that, over the course of a year and a half. He trusted me to decide what he was going to do. I trusted him to do it the right way and to do it to the standard that was expected for his goals. Those are the people that you see make transformations.
Yep. They go in. They go all in.
Yeah,
all in. Like you said, all those things you just named. That's going all in.
Pipes.
Every part of you. Yeah.
All the pipes.
All the pipes in. All right, guys. That's it for us today. It was great chatting with you both. Thanks so much for your input and feedback.
Thank you.
That was good stuff. I had a good time actually. This is the end of the first ASC podcast episode. Thanks for following. Appreciate you guys for listening and follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know what to do. Our next episode, we'll dive into nutrition a little bit more. And so I hope you guys are there for that. Appreciate it. Kyle, Anthony, thanks, guys.
Thank you. See you next time.
See you next time.